trying to find that best mortgage, reminded me of what it's like to cast out a line, wondering what, if anything, you might get. So we're gonna throw a couple casts out here. We're gonna talk about that process, some of the things to watch out for, some of the things that you definitely wanna do as you try to find that best deal, and some things to be aware of as potential threats as you're trying to find this great deal on your mortgage. Essentially, where you want to be is a score of 740 or higher. Your interest rate options will get worse as that score goes down from that threshold. If your score is between, say, 720 and 739, you are going to get a marginally worse deal than if your score is at 740. As you continue down that credit scale, 700 to 719, the pricing gets a little bit worse. Under 700, there's actually a fairly big increase. These guidelines for pricing are actually from the mortgage agencies that kind of run the whole show of our industry. So if your score is not currently at that 740 threshold, really the most important thing you can do is to try your best to get there, or at least to get your score as high as it can possibly be. What lakes, ponds, streams, creeks, etc., where should you go about throwing your line to get the best rate possible on your mortgage? As a mortgage consumer these days, you have tons of options, to the point where I find a lot of consumers may find themselves in a position that is best described as paralysis by analysis. Now, consumers do have access to a type of aggregator service. You've heard of these websites before. I won't name them here. But their essential pitch is, hey, fill out some information on our site and we will cast the lines out for you. To keep this kind of ridiculous fishing metaphor going, you might consider these services like a charter boat service. You're definitely going to get on the fish. You're definitely going to receive offers. But what you may be surprised at is that you might start to feel a little bit more like the fish on the end of their line rather than the other way around. Fact is, as soon as you hit the submit button, when you give these aggregator websites your name, your phone number, your email address, where you first met your spouse, etc., your phone is going to start blowing up. In my opinion, these sites are successful at getting consumers multiple mortgage options. The question is it worth the trade-off? The trade-off in this case being the rather relentless approach of the various salespeople that are going to be reaching out to you to try to lock in your business. Based on my experience and also informed by several rate surveys that I've done of a ton of different competitors across the mortgage industry over the years, these websites do not really give you, the consumer, special or unique access to pricing that's better than what you can get via other means. Although this charter boat captain gets you on the fish, that's not the only way to go catch them. I think it's actually much better to actually really treat this as your own personal fishing expedition. While it may not be quite as simple as clicking a button and having multiple lenders reach out to you, establishing a list of lenders that are essentially pre-selected based on referrals from your friends, your family, your coworkers, etc., you can get a good list of lenders that other people have had really good experiences with. And you can simply call, let's say, 3 to 4 of these lenders to get a good range of options to consider. So whether you've used one of these aggregator services or whether you're taking my advice and taking that more organic referral-based approach, once you've got that selection of, say, 3 to 4 different mortgage quotes, how do you determine which one is a keeper? Although I've titled the video around the idea of getting you the best mortgage rate, it turns out that evaluating the strength of different mortgage offers is more complicated than looking at just the rate itself. And this is because a lender is not going to be just offering you an interest rate. They're also going to be offering you a particular set of fees associated with their services. Now, unfortunately, a lot of folks in my industry do not make it easy for the consumer to tell what fees on this massive list of fees are actually paid to the lender and what's maybe just their estimate of the third-party closing costs. One kind of skeezy tactic that some lenders use is based on the fact that they know that the average consumer is very rate focused. What these lenders will do is essentially take advantage of that fact And they'll offer you a rate that may actually be significantly lower than what you see from the other people that you talk to. The best practice here, if you want to zero in on what fees are actually being paid to the lender, really is just to ask. So given the fact that you've got multiple quotes that have maybe different interest rates and different amounts in fees, here's what I recommend. Take the lender that's offering you the lowest overall rate on the quote that you've received. Go back to all of the other lenders and say, all right, lender A over here is offering me this rate. That rate is lower than yours. Now, I know as a sophisticated, knowledgeable consumer that you can give me a lower rate in exchange for higher fees. What amount would I have to pay in fees to get down to this rate that lender A has offered me? Each lender should get back to you and say, okay, I can go down to that rate, and this is the amount that I'm charging in fees. Once you have that, you can line up all of those fees together and simply go with the one that's offering you the lowest rate at the lowest level in fees. All right, I'm going to wrap up this conversation by going in an entirely different direction. Ultimately, the lender that you work with, I don't think that the decision should boil solely down to the terms. Now, obviously, you don't want to pay more for your mortgage than you have to. But at the end of the day, one of the things that you're going to find as you're talking to these various lenders and getting these quotes pulled together is you're going to get a pretty good sense of how good that loan officer is at the job. You want to find a loan officer that's responsive. You want to find a loan officer that's good at answering your questions. And ultimately, you want to work with somebody that's good to work with. Finally, if you are looking to take on a mortgage, whether it's a purchase or a refinance, I'd love to earn a spot on that list of people that you call. I think that you're going to be really happy with the terms that I can offer. And I can also promise an extremely high level of service. No matter where you are in the country, I can help with your mortgage. Give me a call, shoot me a text at the number below, and we can have a conversation. My quotes are delivered to you in a format that is very easy to understand. And I also put all of my quotes onto an Excel spreadsheet, which is especially handy in a purchase transaction because as you're looking at different properties at different price points, you can simply adjust certain fields on the quote form to see how it impacts the calculations overall. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope that you found it helpful, and I will talk to you again soon.